Hey guys, today we're going on a treasure hunt. Not the kind of treasure that is at the bottom of the ocean or dug into the earth. This treasure is in a British Isle museum. Come with me and check it out. Okay, we're going to start out by doing a shout out to JJ. JJ is watching us film today because he wants to see how the YouTube secret sauce is made. He's only 5, but he's a subscriber to our videos, so welcome JJ to our filming. Now, the treasure that we got, Damien from the Channel Islands wrote to me and said, I'm the owner of the military museum in the Channel Islands, and we found this Walther PP. Unfortunately, the front strap is ground off. Can you tell me what was engraved here or what was written here before they ground it off? And I thought, well, there's some possibilities, but let me go to my database and see what we can find, and thus look for buried treasure. So this is the information I got from Damien. Again, the Channel Islands. Now, if you're not familiar with that, if you're British, you certainly are, but that was territory taken by the Germans in World War II. The islands were occupied by the Germans. They are in the English Channel between France and Britain, and technically closer to France. So it was easy for the Germans to invade there, and they really had virtually no defense at all. That happened in June of 1940, and they were not liberated until May of 1945. So when the Germans surrendered, laid down their arms, the curator of this museum said they picked up a lot of German memorabilia and weapons and uniforms and things like that. Before the Germans left, they were able to capture a lot of things, and now it's on display in the museum. If you happen to have been to that museum, please comment and let us know. I hope to get there someday, but we're here to talk about this particular treasure from the museum. Before I move on to the gun itself, I also wanted to mention Masterpiece Theater, and there's been a movie or two. There was a Masterpiece Theater did a miniseries about islands at war. I did watch that some time ago, a phenomenal series. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth watching. So that's the context of him sending me pictures of the gun. This is the gun, Walther PP, wartime, 60-degree safety, so it was after 1936. Here's the serial number. That dates it to 1938. So the gun is made in 1938. Here is the front strap that I already mentioned. That marking has been ground off, and it came with, this is a commercial PPK. He wasn't asking about that, but he was asking about this gun. Now, here's a couple other clues. It comes with, this came with a holster, and I can see a Waffen stamp on the closure strap. So there's a Waffen stamp, which means it was with the military, but it has an inscription that has been removed. When I looked this up, I immediately, well, let me back up and say a couple possibilities. It could be RFV, Reichsfinance Bureau, because they put a marking on the front. It could be RJ, they put a marking on the front. But the potential treasure here is, what if it's SA marked? So I immediately went to my database, looked up the serial number, and there is a solid block of about 100 guns that are all marked SA Group Mitte. So I am 100% sure that this gun, since it's a solid block of Group Mitte, I'm 100% sure that this was marked SA Group Mitte. Now, I ran to my safe. You can tell I was getting excited because I'm running. And as a retired guy, I don't run too well. But I found this in my safe. Beautiful PP. Very similar. Notice the finger extension. It's a dull banner only, so that's about right for 1938, before the war started, but toward the end of the pre-war guns. So this is from 1938. There's the other side. You see crown end proofs. Now check out this serial number. 987510. It's only 5 numbers away. And that's what it looked like. So Damien, if you want to get a snapshot of that and put it in the museum and say courtesy of Legacy Collectibles, there is the SA Group Mitte. Group Mitte means middle. It's a district in the middle of Germany, and they had an SA group. They must have ordered at least 100 of these and distribute it to their members. Now, how did it end up in the Channel Islands? Here's a theory, and I think it's a pretty accurate one. 1938, the war hadn't started. The SA groups were ordering pistols, and all the different groups had them inscribed. Here's a couple other examples you can see of different groups that were bought by the SA. But in 1939, September, the war started. They invaded Poland. The war starts. A lot of the SA groups, they were fine to help build the Nazi Party and keep the peace and beat up some communists. They had things to do on the weekend. They had sporting events and shooting events, and I facetiously said they beat up people. But there was some rioting. Before this, there was rioting in the streets, and the SA was brought in. The brown shirts were brought in to keep the peace. Air quotes. We have to do air quotes. They were brought in to keep the peace. But once the war started, those young men were all encouraged or drafted into the army. In some cases, they would all join together. But if you've been in the service, you know that they would test you according to your talents and abilities, and some became radio men, some were assigned to tanks, some were sent to different units. The owner of this gun, obviously in the group Mitte, ended up in the Channel Islands, so he was assigned to a unit, we're not sure why, that went to the Channel Islands. Now, of course, once he joined the military, then he probably picked up this holster, assuming that this has been together forever. Here's maybe a little better shot of it, a little close-up, but I can see the Waffen stamp. So it was issued to a military unit. He brought his gun with him, but picked up a holster while serving in the Channel Islands. In my opinion, that was a pretty cush job because it was easy service. It was easier than the Russian front or even the Western front, because if you watch the miniseries, there was certainly some danger, but it was relatively easy service. Anyway, it's a good series. You should watch it. This gun ended up in the Channel Islands. And now Damien will be glad to see this is what should be on the gun. And Legacy Collectibles was really pleased to be able to help him solve the mystery of this particular treasure. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel because you never know what treasures are going to show up next.